Today we celebrate the feast day of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and I was just reading before Mass that Guadalupe literally means one who crushes the head of the stone serpent. And of course we know that is one of Mary's roles, is to protect us and to draw us ever closer to Almighty God. And this beautiful revelation of Almighty God through the Blessed Virgin Mary, and we see how He has made her a mother to the Americas, mother to all of us. How she reveals herself so simply to this simple man, Juan Diego. But she reveals not in glory and majesty, but as a mother. She says, Juanito, Juan Dieguito, these words translated into Spanish, calling him by name as a mother would a small child. Juanito, little John. Juan Dieguito, John little James. Calling him by a tender word. And then she says to him, I want you to go to the bishop and I want you to tell him that I want to, it is my ardent desire that a church be erected here. Why? So that everyone can honor me and then they'll know that I am in charge. No. She says, it is my ardent desire that a church be erected here so that I can show and bestow. So that she can do something. And what does she want to do? What does she want to show and bestow? My love, compassion, help, and protection to all who inhabit this land. To those others who love me, that they may call upon and confide in me. What a true mother, right? All she wants to do is show and bestow her love and compassion, her help, and her protection. And so we know that, of course, the bishop, being a wise man, did not just assume that the first person that comes to him and says, I've seen the Blessed Mother, says, oh, you did? That's wonderful. But needs to discern. It's appropriate for him to discern. Is this really from God? Is this not? Is this someone making something up? Is this someone who's crazy? Or is this someone that's being affected by the devil? These are all things that are possibilities, in addition to the fact that it is really Our Lady that's appearing to him. So he dismisses it and says, I can't, let's hear about this later. He goes back to Mary, and Mary says, okay, go back to him. And he goes back to the bishop and says, well, I need to have some sort of sign. I have to discern this. So, of course, there's a whole story about how his uncle gets sick, and so he has to take care of his uncle. And then his uncle says, go get a priest to hear my confession, because he's not really doing well in health. And so he runs off, and I love this. He avoids the hill where Our Lady is, because he doesn't want to be delayed by her. I always think that's so humorous. But she comes down to him. She comes down to him as a good mother. She comes down to him and says, don't worry about your uncle, he's already healed. There's nothing, listen and understand, my humblest son. There is nothing to frighten and distress you. Do not let your heart be troubled. Let nothing upset you. Is it not I, your mother, who am here? Are you not under my protection? Are you not fortunately in my care? That we see this tender love of the mother. And then, of course, she says, go up, pick up all these roses, go up to the hill, pick up the roses. There's all these roses. There's been a frost. There's all these roses. Not only are there roses, they're in bloom, but they're Castilian roses, which is Spanish roses. There ain't no Spanish roses in Mexico. And certainly wouldn't be blooming now. And so he brings them to Our Lady. She places them in his mantle. He goes to the bishop. He says, here is your sign, Castilian roses. Dumps it, and there's Our Lady's image, which we can still see today if we go to Mexico City. One of the miracles of this great image is that 500 years later, it's still intact. The physical material of the tilma is still intact. It should have disintegrated within 30 years. 500 years later, it's still in perfect care. Amazing. And there are all sorts of other miracles about it, which I think you should look up. But all of it is to be a sign to us of Mary's enduring care for us. And this happened on December 12th, which back then, on that year, would have been the winter solstice. Because it was 51 years later, they went from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, which we use now. And in that 51 years later, they skipped 10 days. Because they had to catch everything up, because everything was off kilter in terms of where the solstice and the equinoxes were and all that stuff. And that was important for the church, because when we celebrate Easter, depends on the equinox and the moons and all this stuff. And so they finally got this system together, which will be good for a while now, longer than our lifetimes anyways. But so they had to skip 10 days. So the December 12th would have actually been December 21st, 22nd, depending on what part of the cycle it was in. And so it would have been the winter solstice, so showing with the coming of Mary and the child in her womb, we're moving from darkness into light. All these incredible symbols, how Almighty God is moving in our midst. Do we recognize that God is in the details? And that Our Lady's care, she never forgets us. You think about the wedding at Cana. She's the first to come to Jesus. She recognizes, before the bride and groom do, they have no wine. She takes care of the details. She takes care of the details. She has a mother's care, a mother's love. So may we turn to Our Lady of Guadalupe today, asking her to draw us close to her heart, so that we may be close to Jesus' heart, that she may, what are the words? So that she may show and bestow her love, her compassion, her help, and her protection, so that we might call upon her and confide in her.